Um, okay.
Hi,
Hello. Hi, Meckell. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Can you hear me okay? There we go. That's better. Can you
Yeah,
hear me
can you
okay?
hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Hello.
Sorry I'm late. Thank you for taking the time out your Sunday to be live with me.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited for the
Yes.
conversation.
Same. So, hello everyone that's just joining. This is another episode of our. Do you hear an echo? There's no echo, right? I feel like there's an echo. No, hopefully not. But yeah, this is our 14th episode. Self-care, self-care check-in and wellness talk. And Meckell so graciously, agreed to participate. So thank you for that. Yeah, so while people are still joining, tell the audience. I know you're a travel blogger, you have your own website, and you live in Mexico, which is really cool. I would love to know the story of how that got situated, what made you move down there. But yeah, tell the audience, who you are and what you do.
Yes. Well, peace, everyone. My name is Meckell. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns. And I am a wellness professional. I actually created my own wellness business that supported my life as a digital nomad. And so I do share my story through the YouTube space, a little bit here on
Yes.
Instagram as well, a little bit of blogging. But I am currently living in Mexico City, Mexico,
Gosh.
and love sharing my journey. But also, one of the beautiful things that has been happening since I've been growing my platform online is that I've been meeting so many people that are also interested in leaving the United States and building a life abroad. And so that part has been really cool to see and to learn from other folks and to see what their journeys have been like too.
Right. So when did you get started in like your travel blogging and vlogging on YouTube?
Yeah, so when I first started my YouTube channel, it was for my wellness business, and it was right when the pandemic started.
Oh
So I knew I
gosh.
loved traveling, but of course, at that time, we had no idea what was going to be happening, what the future of travel was. So I was focused, laser focused on building this wellness brand. So as 2020 progressed and I started dreaming my biggest dreams about what I would love to see happen in my life, I knew I wanted to leave the United States. So that's when I really started sharing more of my journey. I really started from pre planning. Here's what I'm thinking about. Here are
Hmm.
the things I'm putting in place. This is where I decided on to move. So, all those stages I started sharing, and people started really tuning in and building interest. Some because they had already done something similar, some people because they were still dreaming about doing something similar. So once January 2021 hit, that's when I officially left the United States and
Wow.
started my life in Mexico, first in Merida. And I've kind of traveled around, and now I'm in Mexico City, and this is home for me.
That is so
So
cool.
the more time went along, the more I started learning the different ways that I could share my story. And again, people just started really showing interest. And that is how I got here. And it's still growing. So it's exciting to see the
Wow.
community.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about moving abroad somewhere, the number one thing is like employment. When you work in the travel industry, you can kind of work wherever you go. If you travel blog, you're a travel vlogger. But if that's not your niche, that's not your industry, and you don't want to, you are thinking about moving somewhere else, it's like income and employment is like number one because living anywhere else, I'm sure, is not as expensive as America. So I'm sure your rent is like pretty okay in Mexico City compared to where your rent was in America. So that's great you took that leap. That shows you're very adventurous. That you took that really, that you took that leap to just move down there.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived in the Bay Area before I really took the leap. So when you talk about rent prices, for sure, there's a big difference. I mean, there's definitely luxury here, and there's
Of
definitely ways you
course.
can spend similar, but my rent is a lot cheaper.
Mm,
And yeah, it's been, I wish that travel could sustain my income, but it's been one of the pleasures in my journey is like starting to share with people that process of me trying to build a business to sustain my life. So that's
mm,
the conversation I'm having more and more of. And something that
right,
I actually consult with people about is how do you build your own business that you can become a digital nomad and sustain yourself and work from anywhere in the world for yourself. Like
right.
that's something that I think some people think they could never ever do. And if you would have asked me 3 years ago, if this would be my life right now, I would be like, what? You have got to be mad. So,
Right,
yeah, I don't think I realized how big of a leap it was, but I'm so glad whatever steps it took for me to take that leap got me here. I'm just really, there's a lot of gratitude for that
right,
happening.
right. Wow, wow, that's incredible, incredible story. So, since you like work in the wellness industry, I'm assuming that you have a few clients. What do you help those clients do when it comes to wellness?
Yeah, so in the one-on-one space, I'll work with people as a health and wellness coach. So looking at
Okay,
someone's
cool.
holistic wellness and creating a space so that they're heard, they're seen, and that we can
Yes.
work together on just allowing them to find some balance in their life.
Mm, mm.
I teach yoga as well, and of course,
Oh,
meditation's a part of that.
of
But these days,
course.
I'm working less with individuals and more with organizations, groups,
Mm,
businesses to do very similar things, help to support the wellness in their workplace, both for the
ooh,
individual as well as for the environment.
right, right. Cool, cool. So we're just gonna get right into the questions. Now, first question is, how do you find time to hit pause on life and tend to yourself?
So, this is a really good question. And I think this is a question that reflects some of the challenges that folks, especially women of color, face when it
Mm,
comes to taking care of themselves. Because it
yeah.
feels like you have life and everything that's happening, and then there's this extra thing that you have to do, which is take care of
Mm,
yourself. And so, one of the things that I strive to do is integrate wellness into my day to day. So it's,
mm,
of course, there are times when I need to pause, reflect, chill, but the things that keep me going are the things that I'm integrating into my day to day life. I need to
right.
start the morning grounded. I need to, get meditation on or some yoga in the morning. I need some movement in the morning. I need to be eating in a way that supports myself. Like there are things
That's
that
important. Yeah.
will support me in taking care of myself longer term
Mm.
that kind of reduce the need for that, like, okay, pause, I'm burnt out, now how do we fix
Mm.
this?
Before it reaches that point, right, you make sure
Yes,
that your daily like routine is,
because that's what
yeah,
happens with a lot of us, right? It's like we hit that point,
it's
everything is
not fun.
crashing down, and then we're looking back like, oh yeah, I haven't
Right.
really been making space for myself just as a
Yeah.
human. Right. So that's something that I've worked hard at the past few years. And I can't say I do it perfectly, right? Like I'm
We're
always
all
trying to
human, of
find
course not.
balance.
Right, right.
But yeah, that I need some space for myself before I give to other people, even just in the virtual world, each day. I
Mm,
need some space, some downtime for my mind to just be able to unwind. I need to be eating in a way that's supportive. Yeah. And some laughs and community time as well, I would put in there.
that's good.
But longer term, for sure.
Yeah, especially your diet. Talk about wellness long term. Your diet, what your diet is now is going to affect you 20 years from now, you
Yeah.
know? So that's good that, you're thoughtful about that.
Yeah. I think I've had to learn that treating myself, and this is a lesson that's very new too. Um, Sometimes we have this idea that like treating ourselves, we're like, okay, I'm gonna go on a sugar binge this week. Like I've
Mm,
been having a rough time. Just give me all you know. That's not actually what is helpful for me, right?
mm,
I say it's a treat to myself, or I'm gonna take a break from eating in the ways that are most supportive, that I've learned are most supportive. But actually, those are the things that throw me off. My energy
mm,
levels all out of whack. You know, my motivation, I get fatigued depending on what I'm eating.
yeah.
So I've really had to learn it's not just something that I'm like trying to do it to be healthy. It's like this
Mm,
is actually if I want to be functional and like again take care of myself long term, this is just a good way to eat to take care of myself.
right.
Not just, letting it all go for what I consider a reward. Not saying that I don't eat sugar and things like that, but just really shifting my mindset around what that's bringing into my life versus what that might be making more challenging for me.
Right. I say everything in moderation. So, even I feel if you exercise, you can be excessive with anything,
Mm-hmm.
exercising, eating healthy, your body needs some like fat, your body needs some off days. So I know what you mean when you say that. Now, second question, what does wellness mean to you? The questions you kind of answered this already, like just by
Mm-hmm.
your daily habits, but
Yeah, but I think what you were
yeah,
just saying, like that moderation piece, that's what wellness means, like balance. I think
yeah,
having balance in life, and that's mental, spiritual, physical, and I think balance for me is going to look different than balance for you.
of course.
And that's one of the things that is revolutionary when I started learning more about wellness and taking care of myself is letting go of some of these ideals I have that like this is what everybody needs. Everyone needs to do this thing. And now I'm like, okay, I am a lot more aware at my age of the things that keep me thriving and help me feel
Mm,
my best. And I'm
yeah,
a lot more aware of when I'm off, when I'm feeling off, maybe when I'm thrown off, I'm stressed, I'm not taking care of myself. And so getting back into my own flow um, and regaining that balance, that to me is wellness.
so you listen to your body, which is good.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And there are so many things as people in a capitalistic society, as Black folks, as women, as people who hold oppressed identities. Um, there are so many things that are trying to just distract us from paying attention to
for sure.
how we truly feel like our own intuitive understanding of our needs. And so, again, I'll use the same word, like it is revolutionary to instead, like unapologetically become aware of and create space for the things
Mm,
that we need.
right. That's a good point. Wow, that's a good point. Now, what are your favorite ways to self-care?
My favorite ways. Well, one I just did, which was a nap. I had a nap before this.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Sundays are perfect for naps. Yeah.
yes, Sundays are some of my favorite days for naps. And I have constructed my life in a way that can allow space for naps every day if I'd like.
Whoa. That is what I call luxury. Taking a nap whenever you want? Oh my God, girl.
I call myself a nap connoisseur. So it is something that's important to me to listen to my body.
Right.
So that's probably my favorite way, like rest, like actual rest. I don't,
Yeah.
I need about 8 hours of sleep. So I'm not somebody that's gonna sleep all day. I'll go to sleep. I'll get my 8 hours. I'm up. I'm feeling good.
Mm,
But making sure I'm getting the sleep that I know I need, and then also adding in a nap. Like those are my favorite ways to self care. I'll
I
also
love that.
throw cooking. cooking for myself.
Cooking.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at cooking as a burden, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's.
it really depends, and it definitely can feel that way, especially if you're caretaking for other folks or you have
Oh,
families or roommates or things that you're cooking for and people need to be fed. I think for me, um, it is, I don't want to sound like, oh, it's a form of meditation for myself, but it is an opportunity to be present,
right.
and there are such monotonous parts like you're chopping veggies and I really like kind of puzzles, and I think about cooking in a similar way because you're thinking about how to construct a meal and you're timing out
Mm,
things, and so it's just
okay.
like I'm all in, and then I think I can cook pretty well, so towards the end, you're able to get a good meal too, which is one of my favorite things to do is eat. So
Yeah.
it's like all those things in one.
Wow. You can give yourself the nickname Nap Queen.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that.
Because I only take naps a few times a week. I would love to take one every day. So
Yeah,
that's luxury right there. If you ask me what luxury is.
nap queen. I like that. I
And
like that.
cooking, okay, that's a first. Looking at self-care as sort of relaxing, um,
Mm-hmm.
and favorite ways to take care of your body, because that's essentially what self-care is, you know. It's not just face masks and bubble baths, it's what you enjoy doing, you know.
Yeah, and it's nourishing. We gotta eat.
Yeah.
So it's going similarly to the nap taking. I've noticed creating more space for myself to cook regularly, if not daily,
Mm.
has been something that has emerged in my like week where I'll start my work. I'll create space for myself in the morning. I start my work day, and then I take some time in the afternoon to cook, take a nap, whatever I might need, and then get back to some work. And it just feels like this kind of flow, right? We all have dips, peaks
Yeah,
and valleys in our
of
energy level
course.
throughout the day. And so instead of feeling guilt about that and being like, keep it going, you got that 2 p.m. slump, it's like, okay, I'm going to bust some things out in the morning, take some time, nourish myself, take it easy, and then like back at it when that next wave of energy comes in the
Mm.
afternoon. So I think that kind of goes back to that idea of intuitive, like kind of living in an intuitive way where you're able to caretake.
Are you a coffee drinker? Like, do you like caffeine?
So funny that you should ask that. When I lived in the United States, I could not drink caffeine because I had high anxiety. And
Oh,
so any caffeine, even if it was like coffee ice cream, I had to stay away from because it
oh
would
my
take my
gosh.
anxiety up here.
Mm.
And so I avoided it. And it wasn't until I think in September I was spending a month in Costa Rica with one of my cousins, and their big coffee culture, as Latin America is overall.
Oh, Costa Rica,
Even like
yeah.
coffee in the evenings.
Whoa.
And I was like, I think I'm going to try some coffee, right? I had already noticed a decrease in my anxiety, and I'm like, okay, let's just try it. And I was fine. I think I had caffeine. It was like in the afternoon, which is something I would have never done.
Mm.
And I felt okay. And even now, it doesn't matter the time of day. I can still have some coffee. I probably drink coffee every once in a while now,
Mm.
unless I'm feeling like, you know, I'm really needing it
That
one
you need
week.
it. Hmm.
Yeah. But it's been really nice. It's something that I really love about the lifestyle here. Is like you're walking around in the evenings and you just see families and community members sitting around drinking coffee in the evening. So it's been nice to partake in that, and I don't notice the same impacts on my anxiety levels at
Anxiety.
all.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes coffee for the really busy days for me. Yeah. Like I like a good latte, macchiato, frappe. But usually I drink it to give me energy
Yeah.
to be productive throughout the day.
Yeah.
So,
And is that something that you might do throughout the day to keep the energy up?
of course, yeah. I usually stop drinking around 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So I would have like 2 cups, or if I go to Starbucks, a Dunkin' Donuts, latte, macchiato. But when I drink it at home, I usually have about 2 cups a day or one.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I think that's the experience of so many people, you know. It's like get that extra boost, get that motivation, that focus, especially for the days that it feels hardest. Where you're like,
hmm
I don't want to get out of this bed. That can be a big motivation.
right. And I know for some people, causes them to get jittery, which is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's if you drink way, way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a very personal question, but how do you personally cope with stress?
When I think about how I cope with stress, I think about the ways that don't serve me, and I think
Oh,
about the ways that do serve me. Um, and so, if I'm noticing I'm drinking more wine,
mm,
especially I love wine, but
same.
particularly for the effect of like just bringing that
To
stress level
relax.
down, even
Okay.
temporarily. Lots of sugar, zoning out, just like binge watching a show. Like I do like Netflix and things like that, but if I'm just trying to have it take me away, like, you know, those are things that I notice are kind of not serving me and not supporting
Mm,
whatever may be stressing me out.
right.
So I'm grateful for the times I notice when I'm starting to lean into those habits that are just like really quick fixes, help me detach and just kind of zone out. The
Mm,
things that really support me and that I really like leaning towards, and not just when I'm stressed, but also just regularly to support me and not getting as stressed out, is movement.
physical
Yeah,
activity.
yeah.
Mm,
So that's something, you know, I mentioned that I've had a history with anxiety,
mm.
um, also a history with depression. And when I
Oh,
think
yeah.
about my morning routines, movement is something that I need in my life. I need to do
Mm,
every morning, um, regardless of how it looks. Maybe it's just some light yoga. One of my preferred types of movement, and anyone who knows me knows, is biking. I love biking.
biking is fun. I haven't done it in years, but riding a bike is fun.
It's so fun.
Yes.
So that if I can move my body, which movement is like one of the best ways to actually support your body in processing the products of stress,
That's true.
which we do naturally. We're pacing when we're on the phone and things like that to kind of move some of that energy out. So yeah, those are my favorite ways to, like, in a supportive way, cope with stress.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say, Netflix, watching your favorite show, wine. They're good ways to relax and to bring about leisure time. But as far as bringing your stress level down, that can be, that can require more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting that you say that those things that um, might relax other people doesn't really bring down my stress level. And like you said, physical activity is kind of the number one like stress relieving thing to do as a human being is to exercise, to get your body moving, like you said. And
Yeah.
yoga is I've taken a yoga class in college. I'm 28, so this was like 6 years ago. And it was very relaxing and did make me feel like just zened out. Because it's all about like breathing mechanisms and meditations when you're doing yoga. So that's interesting. You're a yoga instructor. Do you do that in like Mexico City where you live,
So everything
or
I
on
teach is
virtual? Yeah.
virtual. Everything's
Oh,
virtual.
okay.
I tend to teach more restorative and slow forms of yoga. So I teach yin yoga, restorative yoga.
What's yin yoga?
Yin yoga is a form of yoga that is like a really, really deep stretch. So it's like a, it's not, sometimes we'll do yoga and we're starting to get our heart rate up, we're sweating a little bit. This is a very cold form of yoga where we're deep stretching the muscles, but for the purpose of supporting us and releasing things that aren't serving us. So we tend to hold on to emotions and traumas in our bodies.
Yeah.
And so yin is a way of being able to tap into that and release some of those experiences. So it's not uncommon to be crying, to have emotions rising.
Wow.
So I love things like that, slow forms of yoga, or even like bed yoga, something that can be really just give some space for us to be present and connect with ourselves mentally and physically.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I do
make me want to take a yoga class now. Another one.
For sure. But I mean, about the wine and the Netflix, those are things that I might do on a regular night as well. But again, when I start noticing that it's just like, it is my go-to, that's the only thing I want. I'm like, it's every night I'm trying to pop up, open another bottle of wine. It's like, okay, what's going on? How are you, what are you actually not confronting right now?
Right.
How do you, so again, going back to just what's balanced for me.
Right. Wow. It's definitely need to take another yoga class now. This is a sign from God that I should. Because I didn't even know you were a yoga instructor. That's interesting. Now, fifth question, are you vocal about your needs enough?
Am I vocal about my needs?
Yes.
Now, yes. I have not always been, but I will say now, yes, I am. And that comes back to me building that awareness of what my needs even are.
Exactly. You have to know what they are before you vocalize what they like to others.
Yeah. And because there's a big, I think for many of us that have not yet realized what our needs are or started vocalizing them, sometimes there's this perception that people who know you or are closest to you or love you should know. It's like, they should already know what I want, what I need in the moment. And it's like, even the people that I'm the closest to, like, just being able to be in communication, you know what I mean? It can really change a relationship.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's been a long road, but at this point, I've found a lot more comfort in vocalizing. And
it's getting there. That's good.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the whole like boundaries thing. And it's not just obviously with friendships, romantic relationships, coworkers, friends, relationships with everyone in your life. Because then you're going to be miserable all the time if, you're not saying what your boundaries are. You're not saying what you like and dislike. So.
Yeah, and that's a part of my work as well, is supporting people and recognizing what their needs are and their boundaries and how to communicate that, because I wasn't necessarily taught that, And so it has been a long road, and I see that in my community, I see that in my family, I see that amongst friends, and we've all been on different types of journeys with being able to have that awareness and communicate those needs. And again, we live in a society that doesn't always create space for women of color in particular to voice those needs. So to unapologetically do so is powerful. It's really powerful.
For sure. I agree. I agree. Especially, right, just being a Black woman, respected. But everyone says it's true. Like, when they say Black women are expected to be strong. But I also think we have a rep of being vocal about what we're going to take and not take. but still a lot of us struggle with just being vocal about those things.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
So,
layered. It's so layered. Because when we are vocal, how are we perceived?
mm,
Who are we perceived that way
that's
by,
deep.
you know?
Exactly. So
I guess
layers,
that
exactly.
relationships and things like that, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it's because it doesn't always feel welcome. Like now, if
Mm,
I'm very clear on the things I want out
that's
of
good.
life. And it doesn't always feel safe to express those things because people are used to you playing small. So when you're
Mm,
like, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I want, in a way that is still, in in harmony with the community around, considering like power and privilege, things like that. But yeah, people don't always know what to do with that. I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
she knows exactly what she wants.
true that. True that. And then, if women do it, we're not seen as feminine, or
Hmm.
we're seen manly if we say what we want,
Hmm.
and being perceived as not like feminine, not as woman, if we're loud about what we want. So,
Yeah, not as desirable.
oh yes,
Yeah,
mm,
it's very layered, and the that saying like check on your strong friends, right? Is like
oh, that's a good,
being a
yeah,
strong person also doesn't mean that you are not a vulnerable person and don't have challenges and don't need to be checked up on and things like that.
right,
So I think what I'm noticing is just like we make so many assumptions about people, about each other, but
you're
we're all
right.
such complex beings. So it's like, can we have space to just be complex and
Mm,
to trust that people are, when they're telling us about what they need and who they are, that we can acknowledge that and also create space for them to contradict that sometimes and grow
right.
and change and evolve. And I think that's the beauty of the human, just being human and like that evolution and being in relationships with other people in the world. But yeah, sometimes
Mm,
it's we don't always have that space.
true that. Yeah. Wow. um, last question. With the new year here, are there any positive changes that you want to make in your life?
Always.
Yeah, we all have those.
um yeah, when I mentioned the things that keep me balanced, I think as a wellness professional, people assume that I'm just like I'm always thriving. I'm always at just doing everything that I need to do. I'm taking care of myself, just and in reality, I think I'm always holding that balance as like what I'm centering on. But there
Okay,
are some times that I'm more out of balance than others. So right
for
now,
sure.
yeah, I'll give a concrete example. One thing I've been struggling with that I am aiming to make a positive change with is my relationship with my phone and social media in general, which is hard as a
Mm,
content creator.
yes, I always say that. When you make money from being active online, like it's hard
It's
to.
so hard. And I think for a while I was doing really good at waking up, doing my morning routine, and then I get into social media. And lately I've been like, I wake up, I'm on my phone, and then I get into
Mm.
my morning routine. It's like, no, this is not, my energy's already depleted because I'm already in
On
the,
it.
you know,
Yeah,
the online world and all
yeah.
the things that come with it. But that's something for sure. And we don't talk about that, I don't think, enough in the content creation world. And
That's for sure.
plenty of people talk about balance with their phone and taking breaks and stuff like that. But when you're creating content, it's a lot more difficult to like find that space and separation and take time off. So that's something that I'm working on actively.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. The whole like detox from social media and your phone. it's hard to do that as a brand owner, as a vlogger, as a
Mhm.
blogger. Even if you're online on your laptop, that's still like blue screen time. That's still screen time, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and yeah, no one really does talk about that. Like everyone's so forward with creating content, getting views, getting likes, being engaging with your audience and followers, but no one talks about how like draining it is
Mhm.
to like keep up with all of that as a content creator, and how you need breaks from it, just like you need breaks from anything else.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
I took a one almost 2 week break from YouTube recently, but that means before I left, I was planning content for that break. You know what I mean?
It's like it
So
never
it was
ends.
like
Yeah.
so that it continued. And it's
Oh,
interesting
okay.
because
Got it.
yeah, people will take a break and the income that you're making or the followers or things like that, those numbers will drop. Or,
For
like
sure.
those sorts of things will be in flux. And for
Right.
someone who's depending on that, that's a really big consideration to make. And
Yeah.
especially thinking about creators of color, like
Mm,
that's big. And yeah, we don't
yeah.
really talk about that enough, especially thinking about mental health and just having that break. So that's something I would really like to see happen more, but also just personally, I want to have a better
Right.
relationship with content creation.
What I started doing is trying to limit at least my screen time before I go to bed. So like I used to like I used to watch YouTube videos to help me fall asleep, like literally in bed, just on my phone watching YouTube videos. But the blue screen delays like the body's natural like thing to rest and go to sleep. Something with like blue light or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it helps your body, it makes your body not like want to go to sleep. So I've been trying to limit my screen time right before I go to bed, like 30 minutes beforehand, instead of falling asleep on my phone. So maybe you can try that. But as far as like long breaks on social media, I literally cannot do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially on Instagram. Instagram's like number one for me,
Mm-hmm.
just as a business owner. But yeah, as a YouTuber, that is kind of easy to plan out content weeks in advance. So literally, you just have to upload and go. Like
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of overworking for a week or two so that you can take a break, but
show that.
it is still it's still something I'm figuring out. And I think,
Mm,
especially since the pandemic started, there's just everything I do is online between social
yeah,
media, connecting with
same.
folks, talking on the phone, my
Yeah,
clients, my business. I was
exactly.
like, I'm
It's
so used
hard.
to it.
Right, exactly. Like just taking a week break, maybe for someone that isn't heavy on social media, that doesn't create content, it's going to be easy for them. But for people like me and you, it's hard to take extra long breaks from social media or to
Mhm.
not post for a month.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But,
We'll
we'll get there.
get
That's
there.
something that
Right.
is, um, anytime I'm engaging in something in my life, I want to be in a place where I'm finding some alignment, some
Mm,
harmony, some like, there's just a good relationship with. So
right.
that's
Exactly.
an ongoing thing that I'm learning and discovering about myself.
Mm,
It's not all bad. It's exciting to learn, but I look forward to seeing what comes out of that. And maybe I'll start the conversation about it. Hell, since we need some,
mm,
you
you
know,
should.
like that's a wellness professional at the intersection of content creator. Maybe it's me who should start the conversation.
Right.
But yeah.
Because I'm glad like topics like mental health is no longer like taboo topics, talking about whatever, anxiety, depression. But like we said earlier, no one's really talking about how like toxic social media can be when it's your job to like be on it all the time. No one is really talking about that. I don't see like content about that. I don't see posts about that. So maybe you should start that, conversation. That's actually a good idea. You should do
Yeah,
that.
I'm thinking right. Of
Yeah.
course, like the content wheels in my head. I'm like, ooh, those would make some
Oh.
good. Because I've seen like there are creators I followed on TikTok, and even thinking about
Mm.
myself when I was creating more on TikTok, that maybe your energy's low, maybe you're in a more depressive mood or having some challenges for a week or two, and then you take time off, you're not creating at all, then you come back and people are like, where have you been? And so there are a couple people who are like, oh, I've been depressed or haven't been able to, do the thing, like create content. But that's pretty much it. So, yeah, just
Yeah.
deepen in that conversation. That's a good idea. I'm
You
gonna
should
tag
do
you
it.
in it.
Oh, for
When we're
sure.
seeing
Yeah.
something.
I'll add it to my story. I'll promote it. Yeah, because someone, and you should make it like a YouTube video with a very what's it called? Very appealing title. Because I know with YouTube, you have to like lure people in with titles and thumbnails and all that. Um, yeah, you should make a video about that.
Mhm.
Even though I know most of your content is about travel. Yeah, so those are all the questions, Meckell. Man, this has been a great conversation. Um, if you would like to put your website, uh, in the chat. Uh,
Sure. Oh
I
yeah.
should have did that in the beginning. Now that I think about it,
I'll put my email,
yeah, and I'll
and
pin it.
you can go to Meckell.com
Mm,
or hello at Meckell.com to ask either about the travel work or any of the holistic wellness work as well.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
that's
see
nice.
any. Yeah, trying to see if I see any questions in the chat, but I don't. Um,
Hi,
hey.
Nina. Hey, Ebony.
Oh, some people are just now joining. Come on, man. Oh my gosh, I
I'll put
hate.
the healing
Sometimes it's like, should
icon.
I start this at 6? Like, but 6 is, yeah, a little
Oh
too
yeah,
late.
because it was 5 your time, and this is
Mm,
the healing work, revolutionaryhealing.org.
cool, cool.
Yeah, but please reach out. I do love hearing from folks, and I'm happy to share parts of my journey. I'm happy to, just connect if you're thinking about traveling or moving abroad, if you are in a place where you are even on the other side of things wanting some more alignment, kind of like we were talking about here, and you want to bring that into your group space, I'm happy to
Hit
connect with you as
McKell
well.
up. Yes, hit McKell up. So, yeah, this episode is going to be on our YouTube channel. Wow, you're our 14th episode. So it's still fairly new. It's still fairly new, the series. And of course, this episode is going to be on ZenLuxCo's website. And a clip of it tomorrow. You'll see it tomorrow as well.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Well,
Meckell. I'm
thank
sure after
you.
this, you're gonna like take another nap.
I'm
Nap
actually
soon.
watching reruns of the Great British Baking Show, which is like one of my favorite shows, and it's
Oh,
a really soothing way to end my Sunday
what is that
while
show
I
about?
prepare for the next week. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was really fun. Thank you for
Yes.
just giving me the opportunity to come on your show, and it's been so nice to learn about the work you're doing, and I'm so excited about this portion of the work too. So,
Yeah, but we're still a fairly new company. We're not even a year old yet, so much co. So I'm still trying to, just be creative with it, ways that I
yeah,
can.
it's beautiful. It's really beautiful to see the way that things are developing. So,
Great. Okay. Thank you, Meckell, and have a good
yes.
have a good Sunday. Have a good
You
self-care
as well.
Sunday.
Same to you.
Bye bye.
Bye.